everybody, and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo, Out of Time. My name is Terror8, and I'm delighted to welcome you back to the Investigator Games. Today we'll be playing the Gathering in the Night of the Zealot campaign with Agnes Baker and her starter deck. Very excited to be here with Agnes today. As we know from last week, Wendy did very well and managed to actually top the league table of investigators. And just to explain what the Investigator Games are, we take a scenario like the Gathering, and in this case starting with the starter decks, and we pitch each investigator against each other in a Hunger Games style format to see who can do the best, who can get through the scenario fastest and get the most victory and experience points. And as I said, at the moment, Wendy Adams is sitting at the top of the deck, top of the league table, just ahead of Roland. She finished in 10 turns, and not only did she she defeat the Ghoul Priest and investigate both locations, she also managed to get Lita Chandler as well, which actually no other investigator has managed to do so far. So well done in that way. There was some feedback on last week's scenario. Someone was saying, because there was a point towards the end where Wendy evaded the Ghoul Priest and could have actually backstabbed the Ghoul Priest and probably killed the Ghoul Priest right then and there in turn 9, but didn't, moved into the parlour to get Lita Chandler. And there was some questioning about why that happened, and indeed I wonder about that as well. So there's been an official independent investigation raised about that. Was there some kind of shenanigans going on? Had money change hands? Did somehow Lita influence Wendy to come and get her from the parlour to finish the game rather than just finishing the game? I know Lita's been very frustrated about the fact that she hasn't been used very much so far. So there is an independent investigation going on. So pending that, I don't want to say any more. I don't want to influence or prejudice that investigation. So once the results of that are back in, I'll let you know what's going on there. However, having said that, either way, unless there was something really nefarious going on, Wendy is at the top of the league table. We're here with Agnes today. And before I start again, thank you very much for all the likes and subscriptions so far. I really do appreciate it. I hope today you enjoy playing through this scenario with Agnes. I spoke to Agnes in the green room before we started. And the conversation hadn't gotten very far when, as you know, Agnes is a waitress. Her daily life is a waitress. She's, of course, has a amazing past life, and I was going to ask her about that past life. When she noticed that the glassware in the green room was actually hadn't been cleaned properly, either it hadn't gone through the dishwasher properly or something, she was absolutely horrified by that. And the problem is that when Agnes gets horrified, things turn really nasty. I suddenly got this gash on my arm. I was bleeding. I had to run away from the green room. Agnes was most apologetic, but and I'm bandaged up now, so it's not bleeding anymore, you'll be pleased to hear. But things got pretty nasty, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to her very much at all. I mean, she did say that she's really looking forward to it, but the sight of dirty glassware was enough to trigger her horror effect and deal damage to me, so I wasn't going to allow that to happen for very long. So anyway, so let's hope that Agnes does well in this particular scenario. A couple of things. I've got her deck here, and actually that's the other thing, spoilers. If you're new to the game, you haven't played Arkham Horror the card game in the past, I'm assuming that the people who are watching this know this scenario reasonably well. If you are new to the game, you haven't played it before, you haven't played the Gathering before, please go and play it. And there are lots and lots of Let's Plays or introductions to the game, how to play the game. There's an excellent podcast called Drawn to the Flame as well, which I would recommend you listen to. All of those things, really, I would do first before carrying on watching this, because this is assuming that you know this scenario reasonably well. So the random weakness that I drew was pretty standard, actually. We got the the good old, is it Paranoia? It's in here somewhere. Where is it? Here we go. It's the good old, no, not Paranoia, Amnesia. Okay, choose and discard all but one card from your hand, which, you know, it's not the best card, but, you know, it's pretty standard. So we got a pretty standard one. The other thing is, as I said, this is the recommended starter deck, which comes with Agnes in the rule book. So it's not optimized. And the thing that's probably the most unfortunate is there's only one shriveling. If I was running Agnes myself, I would have the 2 shriveling. That would be a no-brainer in this deck. I'd rather have the 2 shriveling and the fire axe rather than, say, the baseball bat and, you know, the knife or something like that. So that's probably the main thing. There's only one shriveling in here, so we're going to defeat the Ghoul Priest. We've got to try to keep this shriveling and not use it up. The other thing that can happen with Agnes as well is hopefully we'll get some of these investigation type cards into play, things like Flashlight, or Perception is another one, which, where's Perception? It's here somewhere. Here we go. Perception is another one, which is handy. This deck also has Dig Deep and Arcane Studies in it, which can be good cards, but you need the resources. So often you can have these cards in your hand, but you just, you know, you spend 2, but then you don't have enough resources to really make them sing. So I'm not overly keen on those either. Their upgraded versions are fine, but the base versions are not great. A couple of cards I really do like. I do like Arcane Initiate. Fantastic card for getting spells out. There are times when the Doom's going to click over anyway, so that's a good time to bring out the Arcane Initiate because adding an extra Doom doesn't make a lot of difference. Red Survivor cards like Lucky and Rabbit's Foot are also fantastic in this deck as well. So, and indeed Stray Cat can be really, really handy because that can evade a non-elite enemy, plenty of those ghouls and things. So that can come in very handy, particularly if we just want to get moving and get on with things, or they've got the Ghoul Priest and another ghoul and we just want to evade one of them really quickly and fast. So that can be really handy as well. So I'm hoping that things will go well with Agnes. I'm going to close and shuffle the deck. There we go, the deck is closed and shuffled. I'll just also shuffle the encounter deck and shuffle the chaos bag. So everything's nice and shuffled. We are at turn 1 of our phase. I'll just put the 3 actions onto Agnes, so we're ready to go. Now I know that in the game normally the study and the other pieces aren't all together on the table at the same time. The only reason that I've done that is just for sake of time. The last thing you all need to watch is me carefully putting out all of them in that way. So we just got to remember that if any ghouls spawn in the attic or the cellar while I'm still in the study, then of course that doesn't apply. They go straight to the discard pile. It's one of those little nice things that happens in this particular scenario. We've got Lita and Ghoulie here, over here. I spoke to both of them about this scenario. The Ghoul Priest is smarting a little bit from last week. He's hoping he can really bash Agnes around the head a bit in this one and stop her from getting too far in the scenario. Lita, of course, while she's under a cloud with this investigation, is still hoping that Agnes will bring her on board and use her like Wendy did, because that was very successful. So we'll see how we go. So the first thing we're going to do, always my favourite bit, is draw the cards. And what 5 cards are we going to get? I would really, really like to see a couple of things. We need some kind of card to get us out of the study. We're only a 2 intellect, so we need some flashlighty kinds of cards, if you like. Second thing is, I'd love to see shriveling, because once shriveling's in the hand, then I know we can put that into play at some stage when we need it. So that's always a good thing to get as well. Those are the 2 main ones I'm kind of hoping for at the beginning, but let's see how we go. And what do we draw? We draw Unexpected Courage, which can always be helpful. We draw Shriveling. There we go. Shriveling, great. So, and there's only one of them, so we've got to use it very wisely. We also draw the baseball bat, so that's nice. We can have Shriveling and the baseball bat out, which gives us a lot of choices when it comes to combat. We get the flashlight. Fantastic. So we're getting everything that we really need at the moment, which is great. So the only other thing, well, let's see what else we draw. And finally we draw Lucky, which is really lucky, because I love Lucky. Lucky's a great card, because it can just get you through those, you know, you draw a -4 or something comes along and it can just make the difference between pass and fail. So here we go. I'm pretty, to be honest, I'm pretty happy with these cards. I don't normally say this. I mean, I could pitch in Unexpected Courage and look for something else, but it's a very flexible card. The only thing is we're a bit short on cash, so I could pitch this in and hope to get some kind of resource generating card, but at this stage I'm feeling okay, because usually we don't need these straight off the bat, so to speak. Joke. Ha! But we've got enough to at least get out the baseball bat and the flashlight, and we don't need Shriveling right at the start. So I'm inclined to, I don't normally say this, but actually I'm inclined to go with that. I'm pretty happy with that draw. Who'd have thought? Well, that's a good start. So let's get going. Let's get going with Agnes. So off we go, Agnes. She's off and running. The crowd goes wild. Ghoul Priest is jumping up and down, hoping that she'll not even get out of the study by the end of the scenario. Lita's absolutely hoping that she's going to get into the parlour. So, and we know that based on the league table, turn 10 is the sort of the benchmark now to get through this. So we'll see how we go. So, first action. I'm really excited about this. Agnes is one of my favourite investigators. I do like playing Mystics very much, so I'm hoping this will go really, really well. So here we go. First action, and I'm going to pay 2, and I'm going to bring out the flashlight. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Brilliant. Now, I could just leave it at that. Oh, and I better put the supplies on there. 3 supplies. I could just leave it at that, but I'm aware that Crypt Chill is always something that can come along. But you know what? We've got pretty high willpower, so maybe I'm getting a little bit. But so I have a choice here. I could bring out Shriveling, or I could bring out the baseball bat. Well, I can't bring out the baseball bat, actually. This is the problem with the baseball bat, and why I think the fire axe is preferable, is I can't bring out the baseball bat at the same time because it's two-handed and the flashlight's already there. So I am going to pay 3, and I'm going to bring out Shriveling. So I've got it there, it's out, it's done. I've got it there, and it's ready to roll. I don't really want to use it, but I'm just happy that it's absolutely there. So that's our second turn. Third turn, let's use one of these flashlights, so we'll use one of the flashlight resources. So that makes this a shroud of 0. We are an intellect of 2, which means we've got to do a -2 or better. So let's see what the chaos bag says. Chaos bag says -1. Perfect. We get a clue. We are off and running. So there we go. The first investigator phase, I think, has gone very well. We had a fantastic draw. I couldn't have asked really for a better draw in the first round. We got our Shriveling and we got a flashlight out, which is great. We've used the flashlight then to get a clue. I'm hoping that we'll only need to use a flashlight once more, because then because the cellar is always a bit of a challenge. It's a 4 shroud. We're only a 2 intellect, so we are going to need the flashlight. We do have Drawn to the Flame in the deck as well, so that's something else that we may use as we move forward. But that's a great start. Crowd is happy, Agnes is happy, Lita's happy, Ghoul Priest not so happy. Oh, not good. So we'll see how we go. so far. And I've just realised I didn't really read the scenarios here, did I? Which I suppose I should do, so I'll just quickly read them through now. It's late at night. You're holed up in your study researching the bloody disappearances, what have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear the sound of strange chanting coming from your parlour down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning, as if something were digging beneath the floor. We need 3 doom for that to flip. And trapped. Now, I wonder why they didn't put an exclamation mark at the end of that. Just looking at it, it's like, trapped. You think it'd be like, trapped! Exclamation mark. Or even, trapped! Exclamation mark, question mark. But no, we're just trapped. Like, trapped. As you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes. Interestingly, that as you're leaping through the air, simultaneously, the door vanishes. It's kind of like you've triggered it by leaping in the air. Anyway, leaving behind only solid wall as opposed to in solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. Yeah. Okay, so we know what we've got to do. We've got to get 2 clues. We've got 1. We're off and running. Let's move forward into the enemy phase, or the Enema Phase, as I like to call it. There are no enemies, or enemas, indeed, at the moment, so we can move forward to the next round, which is the Upkeep Phase. Nice. We get an emergency cash, which is really, really handy. So we could have pitched in the unexpected courage and got the emergency cash. That's okay, though. That's good, because we may need that down the track, particularly if we're getting a dig deep or a arcane studies. We're going to need to fuel that with something. So, nice card to get. Getting a really nice draw, so that's great. So that's the Upkeep Phase as we move into the first Mythos Phase. Dun, 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 dun. Right, first doom, so we're a third of the way there on the what's going on, and it is now time for the inaugural event card. So event card, encounter card. So we will draw from the encounter deck and see what we get. And we get Ancient Evils, which, it's fine. I mean, it moves the doom forward, which, isn't the end of the world, but isn't great either. So that moves the doom forward. It's positive in the sense that, we've lost a turn, but we've not got a ghoul to deal with. We're not crypt chilled, so we don't have to worry about something like that. But, it does move things forward a little bit faster. So let's put our actions back on Agnes. It's funny, after playing with Skids and Wendy and others, where you can bring out Leo DeLuca, it feels like you're being robbed somehow when you only have 3 turns. I have to keep reminding myself that's actually standard, but you kind of get a bit spoiled when you have Leo DeLuca out, because you have all these, you have 4 turns each time. So here we go, we're into the Investigator Phase. So the plan here is really simple. Plan here is get the clue, get to the hallway, and then get up to the attic. That's it. That's the plan. Always the plan first, because we're not really, well, I suppose we could go down to the cellar first, but because moving up to the attic, maybe we are better off going to cellar, because if we move up to the attic and there is a ghoul in there, we would do it automatically 1 damage. So, yes. But the only thing is, we probably need more resources if we're going to properly investigate the cellar. So if we do, let's see how we go, but at the moment I'm going to go to the attic first. I know that it's wasting that 1 damage, but that's the way we're going to go. So our first action is flashlight. So again, it's -2 or better. Chaos Bag says, Elder Sign. Wow. Well, +1 for each horror and Agnes Baker, so I don't get +1. We've absolutely nailed that. So that's our second clue. So there we go, the first turn. So we can take those 2 clues away. We can remove, which here we go, flip this. Let me read it first. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this odd, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on the soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. Wouldn't that whack you on the head? Well, depends on how high it is, I suppose. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. Put into play all the hallway, the cellar, the attic, and the parlour. Discard any enemies in the study. Put the investigators in the hallway and remove the study from the game. So the study has gone. Bye-bye, study. We are in the hallway, and we still have 2 actions left. So, we can do a couple of things here. Well, we can't bring out the baseball bat, so I don't need the extra resources at the moment. But I could play emergency cash and then move. Or I could move and I could immediately research and get the other piece. That would be super fast, wouldn't it? Oh, hold on, what am I doing? I'm not going into the cellar. I'm going into the attic. Although maybe I should actually go into the cellar now, thinking about it, because I've got the flashlight. I'm not going to use a flashlight in the attic. I don't want to have a situation... Oh, if we get a crypt chill, but then again, crypt chill, we usually pass it because we're so goddamn good with our willpower. So you know what? I'm going to do things a little bit different here. I'm going to move into the cellar first, because I don't want to waste my horror when I could do damage potentially. If the I think it's the hungry ghoul or the flesh eater, sorry. If the flesh eater ends up in the attic, then I want to be able to do damage. So there we go. There's 2 clues here in the cellar. After you enter the cellar, take damage. So we take a damage in the cellar. Ouch! Must have stubbed our toe on the way down or something. So we've moved into the cellar. It's got a 4 shroud, 2 clues. Here we go. So let's use up the flashlight. So that's another piece. So that reduces that by 2. Flashlight's gone. So that's reduced that to 2. Still got the shriveling. So it's a 2 versus a 2. I'm going to put this in, so it's now a 4 versus a 2. So a -2 or better. Chaos Bag says, drum roll. Yes, that's -1 for every ghoul at your location. There are no ghouls, and so we pass that with flying colours and take the clue. Fantastic. The only problem is getting the next clue is going to be quite difficult, so we might need to spend a little bit of time here trying to get something like a perception or something else. I don't think Rite of Seeking's in here, or the other flashlight. I think there's another one in there. So that's our turn. So this turn we got out of the study, which is good. It's only turn 2. We got out of the study. That was the first turn. We got into that got us into the hallway. We then moved, which got us into the cellar, and then we investigated. So we got the second clue. We moved to the cellar, and we used the flashlight to get quite a difficult clue. So we could very quickly have all our clues. The problem would be then we wouldn't get this victory point. So we have a choice to make next go, whether we go then up to the attic and get those and hope that we'll then be able to come back to the cellar, or we move forward as quickly as possible, because we do have the shriveling, which would work on the ghoul priest. The only other bit that would work really well with shriveling is guts, of course, but also the rosary beads are also a very handy card to have with the shriveling, because it gives you a 6 willpower, which makes you pretty unassailable when you have the 2 together. Anyway, very, very good go. So 2 good goes so far. We move into the Enema Phase. There are no enemas to speak of, and indeed no enemies. So we move into the Upkeep Phase. So we get a spell, but it's not the spell that we want. It's our weakness. So the way that this works is you play this card and you put a doom on the current agenda. This may cause it to advance. Well, when we play it, it won't. So it's a bit like an Ancient Evils situation. If it's in your hand at the end of your turn, you take 2 horror. Now, you could kind of use that to your advantage to make some creature take damage, but I think we're going to be wanting to play this spell ASAP. So anyway, the weakness is out early. That's never a bad thing. It's better to get the weakness now. Just get rid of this rather than later. So I didn't read this. I'm really out of whack with all these, but I should have read that, yes, the glowing barrier is blocking our path, but I think anyone who's played this knows this particular scenario, so I won't bore us all with that particular piece. We've just got to spend the 3 clues in the hallway to trigger to the next round. Okay, so that's the Upkeep Phase. Mythos Phase, there's the 3 clues, so that has now triggered. So, your house continues to change before your very eyes. The walls have decayed and the ground in many rooms has turned to dirt. It's almost as if you've been transported somewhere else entirely, though every now and again you recognize elements of your former home. The lead investigator must decide either each investigator discards 1 card at random, or the lead investigator takes 2 horror. I don't really want to lose any of these. I'm going to take the 2 horror, because I can anyway. Yeah, okay, so we take the 2 horror. Alright, so the floor beneath you is giving way and you see a vast network of tunnels twisting into the darkness below. Shapes and silhouettes of strange creatures move swiftly through the tunnels trying to find a way up. You probably don't want to be there when they do. Indeed. So one of the things is we're moving through quite fast, but indeed the agenda is moving through fast as well. So it's going to move. It's going to get another horror on it again. So we seem to, both of us and the agenda are moving apace here. So there we go. That's the Mythos Phase. We move, and of course we draw an encounter card, and the encounter card is that Ancient Evils again? Wow, another Ancient Evils. So that puts another doom on the agenda. So we're already at 1 doom on that agenda. Wow, this is really moving fast, blistering pace. Okay, it's our phase. We get our 3. We don't exhaust, although we should be probably probably are feeling exhausted, the speed of which everything is moving. So we get our 3 actions. Now the first action that we need to do is we absolutely need to spend 2 and get rid of this card. Place 1 doom on the current agenda. So that's another doom. So there's now 2 doom on there, but it's gone. What we've played. Do you play it out as an asset? No, it's just an event. Yes, so it's gone. So there we go. That's gotten rid of that. I don't like not having any resources because lucky. So that was my first action. Second action, I'm going to play Emergency Cash. Get 3 resources. And then for our last action, I'm going to move. I'm going to get up to the attic. Look, at this stage, there's no way we can get that other clue anyway. If we get some other cards that allow us to do it, happy days, we'll go back and get it. But right now, you know, the agenda is already at 2, so we need to move fast. There's no messing around here. So that's our turn. Basically, our turn was getting rid of our weakness, getting more resources, and getting out of the cellar. Unfortunately, if we go back to the cellar, we're going to take a damage, so we're going to have to make a decision at some stage whether it's worth doing that or Okay. Yeah. So the Enema Phase, there are no enemies to speak of again. We've been mercifully enemy free so far. The Upkeep Phase. Now we get it. Now we get perception. Thing is, though, that we're also going to need some of these intellect pips if we're going to successfully parley with Lita Chandler. So we've got to bear that in mind as well. So it's not enough just to get perception, because thing is, we could move back down. That would then only be a 4 versus a 4. That's not really good odds for getting that clue. So yes. Okay, so that's the Upkeep Phase. We're now straight into the Mythos Phase. So we're now already at 3. We're nearly halfway through already, and it's only turn 4. Things have really moved fast. Let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us. And the encounter deck has for us Dissonant Voices. Dissonant Voices, Still Lives. That's what I always think about, because there's a movie called something Voices, Still Lives. Can't remember but what the voices were in the movie, but anyway, here we are. Put Dissonant Voices into play. You can't play assets or events, and that includes lucky, so that's a bit unlucky, and then we discard it at the end of the round. Okay, no big deal. Alright, so we just got to deal with that. That's fine. We don't need it. We don't need to play anything for the next round. So let's put 3 actions on to Agnes. Crowd is pretty happy with how things are going. They're on the edge of their seat. Things are moving forward really fast. This is a super fast. It's only turn 4. We're already nearly halfway through the agenda 2A. We're up to agenda to Act 2A. It's only been a half-hour play so far, so things are moving blisteringly fast here. And it's now Agnes's turn. So we move into the investigation phase. Well, first thing that Agnes is going to do is obviously move to the attic. So we'll flip the attic. Attic gets 2 clues. And she takes a horror. The horror. The horror. So that's a horror for Agnes. Fortunately, there's no damage she can do to other people. So she's still got 5 horror, so she's fine from that. She's 5/5, I think. Is she? No. Yes, 5/5. She's 5/5. There you go. Lovely symmetry there. Okay, so we're here in the attic. It's a 1 shroud. We are a 2 intellect, which is a -1 or better. I'm just going to see how we can't play assets or events anyway. We could throw in the perception. I want to keep that for Lita though. So let's just see how we go. First turn, Chaos Bag says +1. Easy. Easy. The first clue is that thing hanging, that bloody carcass hanging there. Ah, is that a clue? Easy. And then the second one, so that was our second turn. Third investigation turn. +1 from the Chaos Bag. Krabby Terror 8 draws his +1 again. Is this always drawing the same thing twice? No, it's not. It's just the way it goes sometimes. It's just really, like, it's strange when it does something like that. There we go. Second clue. I'm actually, just to test it, I'm going to just draw from the Chaos Bag again. Yep. Okay. It's always random, so... And even for good measure, I'm going to shuffle it. So, yes. So everything can be drawn equally every time, so it doesn't matter what you've drawn in the past. There we go. We got both of our clues. That's that done. So super fast. We are doing well. End of our turn or end of the round? At the end of the round. Okay, so we keep Dissonant Voices for a little bit longer. That's all right. I'd miss it if it wasn't there. Okay, so that's the end of our turn. Basically, we moved to the attic and we got 2 clues. So we have all the clues that we need. We've got all the clues that we need. So the only thing we do, and we get the victory point here. So there's a victory. I'll just put a damage on it, so we got the victory point. So we got 1 victory point. The only thing is would be moving into the cellar. And to be honest with you, I'm not going back to the cellar unless I got another flashlight, because to go back down to the cellar, take another damage, then we've got a single chance. I mean, we've got lucky as well, so you could literally use that. to get the victory point. Yes, I don't know. But then the problem is then it's going to be very hard to parley with Lita Chandler, because we probably need the 2 perceptions and lucky to get Lita Chandler. So yes, and I don't feel we're not evasion. Surprisingly, we've got no evasion at all. So we're a bit low in terms of preparing for the next round as well. So Enema Phase, there are no enemas to speak of. We're in the Upkeep Phase. There is the Holy Rosary, very nice. Definitely want that in the hand, because not only does that soak up horror, but it also makes our willpower pretty much unassailable. As I said, it gives us 6 fight, essentially. So very, very nice. We can get rid of that. That's not there. That's our one. Okay, so I haven't. Just check I haven't put any other. No, I haven't. Okay, so they're back in there. All right, so that's the end of the Upkeep Phase. We move straight into the Mythos Phase, and already we've got a Doom of 4, so we're over halfway now. So, I mean, we've got a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. So we may, we'll see how we go. So I'm thinking we'll probably move back to the hallway. We'll probably draw a couple of cards, and then we'll probably trigger the Ghoul Priest, unless the cards we draw are something like a flashlight and something, which means we'll move to the cellar instead. Let's see how we go. First of all, though, we've got to see what the what we get in terms of an encounter. An encounter is rats. Rats! We got rats. Okay, we got rats. No big deal. Should be relatively easy to manage without using shriveling. The other thing is, now that the flashlight is gone, this reminds me that, baseball bat could be a good thing to bring out to do some extra damage as well. There we go, we got the rats. We move to our phase, put 3 actions on Agnes. Okay, well the first thing we've got to do is deal with these rats. They're a 1, we're a 2. I'm not inclined to use shriveling on them. It's a -1 or better. Let's see what the chaos bag says. -4, so we fail. Let's try again. We fail. Oh boy, did we fail. Really not really hitting these rats too good, are we? Let's try again. -X number of ghouls. There are no ghoul enemies, so we kill the rats eventually. Ran around, they getting all around. We really had trouble finding them. So we used up all our turns just trying to kill the darn rats. Yes, okay. That was unfortunate. That was really a waste of a turn. But anyway, let's move forward. Enemy phase, there are no enemies. Okay, Upkeep Phase, we get another perception. Now we've got 2 lots of perceptions, so we should have no problem with Lita Chandler. It's really now whether we try and get that one in the attic or not. Anyway, plenty of resources. So it feels like Groundhog Day, because we're really just where we were before. Nothing much has changed, except there's some dead rats around us. So let's move forward. We're now on the 5th of the Rise of the Ghouls. This is getting very... We really do need to get a move on now. Really. And what does the encounter deck have for us? Ah! There we go. The Icy Ghoul in the cellar. So the Icy Ghoul spawns in the cellar. He's 3 fight 4. So, because this presents an opportunity for 2 victory points here. However, to do that, that would then require us using at least 2 of the shrivelings, which is fine because he's a 3 and we could potentially be a 6. So that would certainly stand us in good stead. It might be worthwhile doing, because if we can get the Ghoul Priest and we can investigate both locations and we can get the Icy Ghoul, then we're at the head. We're on top of the table. Agnes now has the opportunity to do that, so that's very exciting. I'm excited. You can tell, can't you? I'm so excited. It's like that card, Trapped. Yeah, Trapped. No exclamation mark. Okie dokie. Here we go. Let's throw 3 actions on Agnes. 3 actions on Agnes. Okay, so I think the first thing we do is we move back to the hallway. Second thing we do is we spend 2 to bring out the Holy Rosary, because then that makes our shriveling that much better. And I'm actually thinking we spend 2 as our third turn to bring out the Baseball Bat, because then we're really cooking with gas here. We've got fight, we've got all those things. The only thing we don't have is evasion. That's our 2 turns. So this feels now like we might be in a position to, even if we don't get that clue, and it's possible, you see we can't use the flashlight, maybe that wasn't such a smart idea. Anyway. Okay. So the question is now, at turn 6, we could trigger the Ghoul Priest right now. But the problem is, if we triggered the Ghoul Priest, we would kill the Ghoul Priest. So we would kill the Ghoul Priest, we would end up with 1 victory, 3 victory, which would give us 5 experience points, which wouldn't put us at the top of the deck. But we would have done it in turn 6, but that doesn't matter if we haven't got as many victory points as some of the others. So, and we've still got time. So my feeling is that we at least try and get 1 of these for a victory point to get us up with the other competitors, to help us get to the top of the table. Because it's possible we could either kill the Icy Ghoul, get that victory point, get back, and we could get it all done by turn 10. It's possible we could do that. Yeah. So, but at the moment, if we trigger the Ghoul Priest, yes, we could probably kill the Ghoul Priest. Well, not probably. We can absolutely kill the Ghoul Priest. We'll finish it in turn 6, but with only 3 victory points instead of 4, which means we wouldn't be at the top, because the only time the rules say, the Investigator Games rules are very clear about this. The only time that turns are taken into account is when people have equal experience points or victory points. So it's only when they're equal. That's just the rules of the way they are. So all the investigators agreed to that when they came to play the game. So anyway, let's move forward. So the investigation phase we just had. Forgot to forward it, that's alright. Enemy phase, well, what am I saying? Yeah, the Icy Ghoul, yes, puts the actions on. Yes, we did our piece. Yes. Yes. Enemy phase. Enemy phase. Nothing happens. Sorry, I just lost where I was there. Thank goodness for this piece on the left here, because I go rambling off talking about all kinds of things and I forget where I am. So yes, the Icy Ghoul just stays where he is in the. I'm assuming it's a he. Sorry, it could be a she. He or she is in the cellar, and then we move to the Upkeep phase, where we get. Discard all but 1 card in your hand. Oh boy. Well, that changes things. Well, it changes things a lot. I think Lucky is the better card to have, I'm afraid, because Lucky can be used in all circumstances. Perception can only be used in certain circumstances. So I think, for me, that's probably the better way to go. That was really unfortunate. That's the way it goes. We move up to the Mythos phase. We're up to 6 now. And the encounter deck says... Aha! Well, this is even a greater opportunity now, because we could literally, if we kill both of these guys, then we can end up with extra points. That's quite an opportunity. Wow. Incredible. Oof. Okay. But then would we have enough left for the Ghoul Priest? Oh dear. Well, we could always get them and then... anyway. There we go. Wow. So it is now our phase, investigation phase. We've got 3 actions. This is going to flip next go. And when this flips, things are going to get nasty. Because essentially, what's going to happen when this flips is the Flesh Eater's going to move. The Icy Ghoul will move. There'll be a whole lot of ghouls in here. A lot of fighting would then ensue. So we've got 2 choices here. We can let that happen. So we could trigger the Ghoul Priest, and then go and get Leader Chandler. Although we're a bit low now to get Leader Chandler with only 2. I think she's a parlay of 4, so that's not great. Or we could actually set about fighting these 2, because we've got, this gives us +2, so that gives us a fight of 4. So that's quite good against the Icy Ghoul, for example. And we've got Shriveling, but we really need Shriveling, so we don't want to use more than a couple of charges of the Shriveling, because we probably want to do some damage to the Ghoul Priest. So the 2, the Flesh Eater is the one that's more difficult to kill, excuse me, than the Icy Ghoul. So, wow. Okay, I think I need these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend an action and I'm going to move back up to the attic, which means I take a horror. So that's a horror, which means the Flesh Eater takes a damage. No, not a doom. What am I doing? Takes a damage. That was our first action. For our second action, we're going to use Shriveling. So that's a 6, because we have the Holy Rosary. So that's a 6 versus a 4. So 6 versus 4. We need a -2 or better. Chaos token says -1, so we are successful. So we do 2 more damage. No, we don't do horror. I keep doing this. So now he's up to 3. And for our third action, he's a 4. What are we? We're I don't really want to use up any more of the shriveling charges, so I could use the baseball bat and go 4 versus 4, and if it doesn't work out, do a lucky. I might do that. So I'm going to fight with a 4 versus a 4. Let's see how we go. 4 versus 4. Chaos Bag says -1. So that's a failure, but we can spend 1. Lucky. We get +2 skill, and we kill the Flesh Eater. Yay! Flesh Eater can go up to the victory location. So we now have, that was our third turn, so we now have 1, 2. We now have 2 victory points, and it's turn 7. So that was successful, but we have got literally no cards in our hand now. Yes, so that was reasonable round. We moved up to the attic. We shriveled the Flesh Eater. Then we baseball batted the Flesh Eater, and we were lucky, and we killed it for a victory point. Fantastic. Crowd goes wild for the second victory point from Agnes. So enemy phase, the Icy Ghoul just stays where the Icy Ghoul is. Upkeep phase, we get the Blinding Light, which is a nice spell to get. I said we were getting no evasion, and we've now found some. So that's good, because if we're going to evade the Ghoul Priest, and then we're actually going to kill the Ghoul Priest, we're going to need something like that. Very nice. Okay, and we've got 3 resources, so we can pay for it. So things are okay, except I just realized, I think I just drew, if you draw that symbol, discard the baseball bat. I just realized I've lost the baseball bat. So I'm already seeing now that the best thing to do, I think, is to kill the Ghoul Priest. It's turn 7. If I can kill the Ghoul Priest before turn 10, then I will be top. I keep saying that. I really do over-identify with these investigators. Sorry. Agnes will be top of the list. Fantastic. I think that's what we're going to have to do. So there's Rise of the Ghouls. That's it now. It's the 7. It's triggered. It's triggered so very fast because of all the extra horrors that were put on it. So what does it say? A feral beast, roughly humanoid, with a canine casque and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor, you see vast tunnels beneath your house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. The lead investigator draws that enemy. Okay, so what we do is we shuffle them all in. You'll notice sometimes I seem to be doing weird things with my mouse, sort of all over the place. You don't see the little pop-ups that come up. That said, do you want to shuffle all the cards into the encounter deck? And I said yes, so just in case you're wondering what's going on there. So I'm going to start, shouldn't that be there too? There we go. Shuffle it again. So I've shuffled all the cards in, and let's start drawing until we draw a ghoul. Nope. 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 Yes, a ghoul minion. We've got a ghoul minion. They're all. So we have a ghoul minion to deal with. Let's go. There we go. So here we go. They're getting out, you hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to that sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in their way. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves one location towards the parlour. At the end of the round, place one doom on this agenda for each ghoul enemy in the hallway or parlour. Youch. Okay. So, 10 goes, but we've got 2 ghouls and we're being engaged by one as we speak. Okay. So it's our investigation phase. We have 3 actions. What do we do here? We've got kind of 2 choices really. We can shrivel and kill it, or we can evade it, deal it a damage. Yeah. So it's evasion or because it's got a 2 and I've only got a 3 and I've got no other cards. This is the other problem. I've got no damn cards either. It's going to move anyway, and I don't want to end up with lots of ghouls in the... So I think the best thing to do is to shrivel it, even though I don't want to use the shriveling. So I'm going to use a shriveling. So that gives me a 6 versus a 2. -4 or better. Chaos bag says -1, dead. So that's our first turn. Killed the ghoul minion. For our second turn, we move to the hallway. And for our third turn, I think we draw a card. We don't have to worry about weaknesses anymore, and we get drawn to the flame. What a time to get drawn to the flame. Yes. So that's kind of like not really helpful because, well, that's not quite true. We could take more time. So I'm just thinking about this because it's only got a evasion of 4. So either we could take more time, and we could, but no, we don't really have the time. It's really a card that's, unfortunately, its time is now past, and it's not the greatest card to have drawn here. So that's how 3 goes. So we move to the enemy phase. There are no enemies, but however, at the end of the enemy phase, the Icy Ghoul moves towards us. Oh boy. Okay. Yes. And then in the upkeep phase, we get scrying. So actually, we could have a go at getting Lita Chandler, because scrying isn't a great card to get either at this stage. Anyway. Yes. So there we go. Things are a little bit difficult now. Evasion of 4. So this is the end of the round now. We have a choice. We can trigger the Ghoul Priest. So if we triggered the Ghoul Priest, we've essentially got to do... Essentially, we've got to hit it twice. We've got to hit the Ghoul Priest twice. 4 versus 6. And then we can evade the Ghoul Priest. And we probably don't. We'd evade the Ghoul Priest first. Do a damage. And then we... Because he's got Retaliate. And then we would do... then we would kill him. I'm actually thinking that's... Because anything else is just going to... Because, yes, we could actually take more time. So we could take more time. We could, you know, I don't know, evade the Icy Ghoul. We could trundle into the cellar. We could drawn to the flame. It's amazing how they've given the name of the card. They've named it... They've copied the name from a fantastic podcast that I listen to. It's not often you see that where a card takes its name from a podcast. Interesting. Anyway, so I could then trundle down into the cellar. So I could take a go getting into the cellar. And then, yeah, then it would be 2 doom each time. Then we could get the other clue, which would give us another victory point. That would be another 4, so that'd be 2, 4. Then we'd be back for 6. And then we could trigger the ghoul priest. This is assuming we get no more ghouls. This is all starting to sound really like things could get very nasty very, very quickly. So if that effect of extra ghouls causing the doom to increase, it wouldn't be so bad. The other thing is that we could trigger the ghoul priest, evade the ghoul priest, get to Lita Chandler, but again, like what Wendy did, really, we've got 2 shriveling, we've got this, let's just try and kill the ghoul priest and worry about, if that's not working, we'll find some other way. So I think otherwise we're going to use up our shriveling and use up these other cards. We lost a whole ton of cards already. I just don't think we're in any position. We got the extra victory point, so we're up there. It's only turn 8. Let's do it. Yep, let's do it. Let's spend the 3. We spend the 3 clues. Let's flip this. Here we go. Ghoulie, you're on. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking the passage to the parlour has vanished to reveal the parlour. Ta-da! Let's put the set-aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlour. Poor old Lita's not sounding very happy now. I knew you wouldn't come and use me. It's always the bloody same with you investigators. You leave me here in the parlour. And then we put the ghoul priest into the hallway. Hello, it's the ghoul priest. Hello, anyone want to play Mansions of Madness? Here he is. There we go. We've done it. What have you done? What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlour, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and lighting its own farts, and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing towards you. If the ghoul priest is defeated, advance. Well, here we go. That's what we're going to do. Okay. That is the end of the round. Mythos Phase, 1 doom, but also at the end of the round put a doom on this agenda for each ghoul, so that would have been another doom. So there's actually 2 doom on there. So now it's time for encounter card. Is there an encounter card which would be really bad? Yes. Not being able to play assets or events might be a bit nasty. Let's see what we get. Encounter card is Rotting Remains. And in fact, this isn't so bad because I'm actually thinking it actually might be quite good to fail this. Because the reason is, if I take a horror, I can then do a damage to the ghoul priest. So the last thing I want to do is, but I've got 6. So it's 6 versus 3. So the time when you want to, a lot of the time with investigators, you don't want to fail this, but actually I do want to fail this. It would be really nice to fail this, but it's 3 versus 6. So -4 would be perfect, because that would basically mean that we take 1 horror. So let's see what the Chaos Bag says. Chaos Bag says, well, it's a skull, which is -2, unfortunately. So we pass the Rotting Remains. Bugger. Pass it. Never mind. See, when you want to fail something, you can't bloody fail it. Right, never mind. So that's that. So we move on to our investigation phase. This is really where the rubber hits the road. This is the critical moment. Critical. Right. We've got 3 goes to basically do 5 points of damage. Now, the thing is that the good thing with Agnes is that actually, even if we do take damage from the Ghoul Priest, or from, indeed, the Icy Ghoul, do we have to I'll just check something. After one or more horror, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So it could be any enemy. So even if the Icy Ghoul does damage to us, we can put that on the Ghoul Priest as well. So we're actually in a pretty good position here, because even if we take damage, we can probably finish the Ghoul Priest. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to spend 2 in our first go, and we're going to play Blinding Light. Blinding by the light, killing a Ghoul Priest in the middle of the night. We were blinding by the light. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to evade the Ghoul Priest. We're going to use our willpower, which is 6. So 6, and if we're successful, deal 1 damage. If one of those symbols is, then we lose an action, which wouldn't be great, but anyway, I'm going to take the risk. So, evade. So 4 versus 6. We might as well make it 4 versus 7. 4 versus 7. Chaos Bag says 0. Fantastic. Yeah. So we succeed in evading the Ghoul Priest. So he's exhausted. He takes a damage in the process. That was our first go. Fantastic. Second go, shrivel. We're going to shrivel the Ghoul Priest. So that is a 4 versus a 4 versus 6. 4 versus 6. Yep, we are a 6. So we shrivel the Ghoul Priest, -2 or better. Chaos Bag says -2. Success. And it's not a token, so we don't take horror, which wouldn't be a bad thing either. I mean, I'm not actually minding that. So that's now 3. So basically, all we need to do now is 1 more. So we shrivel, so for our final action, we shrivel the Ghoul Priest again. -2 or better once again. We get an Elder Sign. What a way to finish. We get the Elder Sign out. We absolutely smash the Ghoul Priest for another 2 points of damage. The Ghoul Priest falls in a screaming heap to our shriveling. It's shriveled absolutely to death. Shriveling is finished. We're all out on shriveling, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the game. So there we are. It was a fast and furious round. We did that in turn 9. Can you believe it? That's the fastest that anybody has done anything. So turn 9 is faster than Wendy and faster than Roland. Not only that, we got our victory points through killing two ghouls. So we got the four victory points, but different to Roland and Wendy. We did it by turn 9. We did fantastically well, I think. It was really fast. The dooms really came thick and fast as well on the agenda side. So everybody's favourite mystic, Agnes, did a brilliant job and is now, I believe, at the top of the league table. I will confirm that. The league table will be shown at the end of the video if you want to check, but that was an amazing round for Agnes. I couldn't be happier. I love playing mystics. That was really brilliant. And even if we had killed the Ghoul Priest, the Icy Ghoul would have done us damage, and that would have probably killed the Ghoul Priest, or close to anyway. So thank you so very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please subscribe and like. I really do appreciate that as well. I can also be found on Facebook on Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm on Twitter as Krabby Terror 8. I'm on Google Plus as Krabby Terror 8. I think I'm everywhere as Krabby Terror 8. I really appreciate all the commentary and all the likes that everybody has given. It's really fantastic, and I really, really enjoy putting these together. Next week, we're moving into the Dunwich Legacy Investigators, and it will be Rex's turn, everyone's favourite journalist with the rather dashing mustache and glasses. It will be his turn. See how another Seeker goes. Daisy didn't do so well, not with the clues, but with the fighting. Let's see how Rex goes in the same scenario. Until then, thank you again. I'm Krabby Terror 8, and see you next time.